Good morning, good evening, afternoon. My name is Evan.
I'm Jonathan.
And you are listening to the Tackling Basketball Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We, as per usual, have a decent amount to get through, so we're going to jump right in with our weekly segment of GOAT and Dick of the Week. So, Jonathan, who is your GOAT of this week?
Well, I think that mine goes much without saying. It's Jalen Hurts. Just a massive contract with a whole lot of guaranteed money. He has broken the record for the most average annual salary in NFL history with a $250 million 5-year contract. I believe 180 million of that is guaranteed. So putting him a little bit behind Deshaun Watson as far as guarantees are concerned. But overall, just an incredible contract for a guy who, I mean, you look at 2 years ago, he was near the bottom of the league in every single metric, and then he just showed out last year, brought his hometown the Super Bowl, and then got paid big time for it. So easily my GOAT of the week.
That's a good one. My GOAT of the week, De'Aaron Fox. Over the weekend, lots of standout playoff performances. Donovan Mitchell showed out for the Cavs. Steph Curry put up a solid number of points for the Warriors against the Kings. But De'Aaron Fox, 38 points on damn near 50% shooting.
Yeah.
Against the Warriors, spearheading the Kings to a first game win. And I mean, he had Sacramento going insane. I don't know if you saw the video of that Kings fan, talking crap to Curry at the end of the game, which is something I never thought that I would see in my entire life, but here we are. So props
Light the beam, baby.
Yeah, so light the beam. Props to De'Aaron Fox for showing out in game one.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Western Conference Finals matchup with them and the Nuggets. But moving on to the Dick of the Week, and this one is I almost copied Evan's answer for a different reason relating to Jerry Jeudy. News came out recently that he really wants to switch his number. He loved being number 4 in college, but he isn't going to do that. And the reason is because their CBA is trash. Always. They just agree to things that they don't even realize. 500 players didn't vote this last season or this last round. And because of that, players who switch jerseys have to buy every single unsold jersey with their number on it. And that would run Jerry Jeudy north of $1 million to do. So, kind of a slow news week, not a lot of dicks this week, but I think that just goes to show one of many flaws with the CBA for the NFL and just the current dynamic of owners versus players.
Sucks for Jerry Jeudy. Hopefully he figures it out.
Yeah.
My Dick of the Week, NFL owners. This is coming off of the sale of the Washington Commanders, or at least the deal that is in place for the Washington Commanders to be sold, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But coming off of that, a Sports Illustrated article has come out saying that most of the owners in the league were actually very upset with that price because they believed the Washington Commanders were worth probably another $2 billion. Which means that the value of NFL teams is now in question as to what owners can get for them. Not necessarily. The Broncos just sold for a lot, but if owners are thinking that the Commanders were worth $8 billion and they only got $6 billion for it, that's going to scare the owners a bit. And teams that are in similar situations as the Commanders, where they are essentially being sold to get out of legal trouble, or they are kind of a dumpster fire, now have some major concerns about getting full value for their franchise. It's a bit of a reach because we're in a slow week with not a lot of dicks, but It is something that NFL owners need to be cautious about.
I think that it's not a huge concern. I think that there are probably 2 ownership groups in the league right now that might not be able to turn a profit, and that is the Waltons, who just bought, and now the Josh Harris ownership group, who just bought. So I mean, when you look a couple years ago, and the Commanders were probably valued by Forbes at least at around 4 million, and now they're being sold for 6 billion, or sorry, 4 billion. Now they're being sold for 6 billion. It might be a little bit of a disappointment based on what people were expecting them to be valued at, but in the end, they're all just rich assholes who are going to be filthy rich when they get off of their teams.
And speaking of that situation, we'll segue into kind of our next talking point here, which
Speaking of rich assholes.
Yeah, speaking of rich assholes, we'll segue into the deal that is in place for the Washington Commanders. Dan Snyder has agreed on a $6 billion deal to sell the group to an ownership group that is led by Josh Harris, who is also the owner of the New Jersey Devils, an NHL team. The ownership group also includes Magic Johnson. I read through the rest of the names that are part of the group, and no one else that I recognize or care about. But Jonathan, what do you think of this deal? And should Commanders fans now finally be excited for the future of Washington football?
I mean, honestly, I thought that the Commanders should be excited for their future, even with Dan Snyder at the helm. To a degree, I mean, you want to get off of that owner. Just kind of spoils the whole team a little bit when he's running the show. But they are already a team that is accumulated a lot of youth, has a rising talent on defense, and is just continuing to look better. They've got a couple of questions to sort out still. I think quarterback is a big question. I'm hopeful that Sam Howell is able to at least become a middling league quarterback. But I think that with them moving on to a new ownership group, it is only going to get better from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. I think the Commanders, things were already looking up for them. But also coming out of the news of the sale, of course, reporters went and asked Ron Rivera what he thought of the situation, and his words were, "I'm relieved." Which, if that doesn't tell you how bad things were in Washington, that does, right? I mean, so I think the Commanders are in a much better position, absolutely. Hopefully, whoever the new owner is will be able to, improve the football team, of course. We want to see the Commanders be competitive. The NFC East has been the NFC least for so long now, and having the Commanders turned around would be fantastic. But also, for the sake of Commanders fans, they have the worst stadium in the NFL, probably the worst fan experience. The Lawrence Taylor Memorial situation was an absolute shit show that needs to be revised because he deserves so much more than the wire statue that they erected of him with mismatching uniform components. And so hopefully, Josh Harris and this ownership group will be able to right the wrongs and get the Commanders back into a good place and having the fans be proud to be Commanders fans once again.
Yeah, hopefully they're willing to spend for their team too, because that's just always a big thing with NFL franchises. You want to be able to improve their practice facilities. You want to spend on the things that don't necessarily take away from your cap, because every owner is going to try to max their cap or around there, as long as it makes sense. But coaches don't count against your cap, neither do your front office personnel, neither do your trainers. All of these things that go into making your players happy and just play better, that don't count against your cap, you want an owner that's willing to spend on those. And time will tell, but I think that this ownership group is more likely than Dan Snyder to do what it takes to win.
Over to the NBA postseason, and we are now going to go through and essentially just fill out our postseason bracket here. We know we're a little behind the curve here. One game has already happened for each and every team, but there's plenty of basketball left to happen. So we are going to start with top left corner of our bracket here, Nuggets T-Wolves. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick for this one, but go ahead.
Are we picking number of games as well, or just the team?
Screw it. Let's go number of games. Let's get bold here.
All right. I'm going to go Nuggets in 5 here. And we'll see. This is a little bit of a preview on a future bet that is going to come up in our next segment. But I think that there was a lot of almost concern with the way that the Nuggets ended their season, just losing 8 of their last 10 games, basically giving away the MVP award to whoever would have won it other than us. Because, in truth, why did we do that? We have not played healthy in the playoffs in 4 years. We traded for Aaron Gordon almost 3 years ago, and we have yet to see Aaron Gordon, MPJ, Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic all on the court in the playoffs at the same time until last night. And we saw how potent that offense is. We saw just how strong of a defensive coach Michael Malone is, able to sort of cover for some of the weaknesses on our defense through just pre-switching on screens and advanced rotations and stuff. So I think that the Nuggets sort of dissuaded a lot of that fear of how they ended the season last night, and that they are going to be able to just hit the ground running, take care of business, maybe fall asleep for one game, but they're the better team by a mile here.
Yeah. I'll also pick the Nuggets, and I'm not even the Nuggets fan here, but I'm going Nuggets in 4.
Oh, boy.
There isn't a single facet of the game that the Timberwolves are better than the Nuggets at. And the other thing for me is that Cat and Rudy Gobert have barely played together this season, which that will be remedied next season, hopefully, for the Timberwolves' sake, and they'll be able to figure it out. But right now, I think it showed that they just don't have that chemistry down yet, and they don't know how to play off of each other yet, and it made their interior game very weak. Cat still got a lot of points, but I think it's a struggle right now for the Timberwolves, and I think the Nuggets will be able to handle business in 4 straight games here.
Yeah, I agree with you on the that whole chemistry aspect. I sort of wonder, though, if they'll ever be able to put it together. Very, very few franchises in history of the NBA have ever been able to field 2 big men as their 2 biggest stars and find great success. You even look at some of the recent failed attempts, like the Nuggets with Jokic and Nurkic, 2 of who are now the best centers in the league, and they were not able to play well off of each other at all, to the point where, a little bit of a tangent here, Jokic said, "Coach, I'm willing to be on the bench to start games because this isn't working. We need to figure it out." And that's when we traded Nurkic. But we'll see if they can put it together next season. I don't think that this offseason has much hope for the Timberwolves.
Yeah, fair. All right, with that, over to the next matchup, Suns and Clippers. Clippers winning game 1, but Jonathan, who do you have winning the series?
This is maybe my hardest one to pick in the West. I think that I have the Clippers here. I just like the way that they match up against the Suns. And, I mean, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are very hungry for revenge and to prove people wrong that they are not good at postseason play like they've sort of shown in the last couple of years. But it'll be a close one, I think. Clippers in 7.
Like it. And I actually completely agree with you here. I'm going Clippers in 7 as well. Kevin Durant was out for a while. He still, I don't think, has built up that chemistry with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. I also don't necessarily think there's any need for a sense of urgency with the Suns as there is with the Clippers. I'm sure Chris Paul really wants to win a title, but the Suns have the excuse of we acquired Kevin Durant late. We still got time on his contract. We can come back next season, put it all together, and go for it. So I don't think there's the same level of urgency there. It will be a close series. It'll be probably the best series of the entire postseason in my mind. But I see Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and the Clippers being able to pull it out.
Yeah, I think so. Something you mentioned there is you don't think they have a lot of pressure, and I fully agree with you, but I've heard a lot of national media members say Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Chris Paul are among the most pressure to succeed this postseason. And I don't know, man. I don't think I agree.
I disagree, too. Chris Paul, again, yes, he would love to win a title for his legacy, but at the end of the day, he's still going to be considered one of the best point guards of all time, regardless of winning a title or not, just like Allen Iverson is. So they still have time. They have next season. Chris Paul probably has another 2 years in him. Kevin Durant has another couple of years. Devin Booker is 25 or something like that. So yeah,
28, I think.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, still, but
yeah.
they have plenty of time, and I think they can look to next season.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, on to Kings versus Warriors. Kings winning the first game in Sacramento, last night, right? Or no, 2 days ago on Saturday. So
Yeah.
who do you got in the series?
This is another really difficult one for me. I do think that over the past couple of years, we've seen a shift in both of these teams where the Kings have started to fill out their roster of more, become a little bit more complete, and the Warriors have thinned out a little bit. I still believe in the top talent of the Warriors a little bit more than I believe in the top talent of the Kings, though. And another close one, I think I lean towards Warriors in 7 here, which actually contrasts a bet that I'm about to make, but that's just because the odds were better for the Kings.
And on the flip side, I'm going to take Kings in 7. I think Saturday showed exactly what the Kings can do. They have a very good mixture of offensive prowess along with the ability to play defense, and I think they played against the Warriors perfectly, where they let Steph get his. Steph dropped 30, but they essentially took the majority of the other guys out of the game, which is a great way to approach playing against the Warriors. And De'Aaron Fox popped off. Malik Monk, of all people, scored 30 points. So the Kings have a deep roster. It is going to be absolutely be a tight series, but I'm going Kings here.
Light the beam.
Yeah, light the beam. Quite possibly just because I would love to see the Kings move on to the second round. But hey, we'll roll with it. All right, and then our final first-round matchup of the Western Conference, Grizzlies versus Lakers. Jonathan, who you got?
I think the only reason this one is difficult to pick right now for me is the injury to Ja Morant. Because I do think that the Grizzlies are, again, a more complete team than the Lakers, as well as I think the age is starting to show in some of the Lakers stars, and we're starting to see a lot of the reason why the Lakers were focusing a lot more on rest this season than in years past, but they were forced to shift away from that focus late in the season out of a fear of missing the playoffs. And I think that we'll see a little bit of wear start to crop up in those stars on the Lakers, and that the Grizzlies, so long as Ja can remain healthy, should escape this. I'm going to say 6 games here.
Gotcha. And once again, completely flipped. I have Lakers in 6.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think the Grizzlies now definitely have more athleticism than the Lakers do. Definitely have, I think, more offensive firepower, but I think the Lakers still hold that experience unit over the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are still very young. I'm just, especially with stuff happening earlier in this year, there's just maturity questions when it comes to Ja Morant, and when the spotlight gets big, we'll see how he comes up. But I think the Lakers will be able to handle business in 6. I'm not sure I see them going beyond that, which we'll get to here in a sec. But yeah, I think the Lakers will be able to get it done.
All right, very cool.
Over to the Eastern Conference, we got Bucks versus Heat. Heat winning Game 1 with Giannis coming down with an injury. Jonathan, what you got?
I mean, it was scary as a Nuggets fan watching yesterday because the 3 games leading up to ours were all won by the underdog. And 2 of those games saw the best player on the better team get hurt. Thankfully, the Nuggets were able to stave that off at least for 1 game. But I think the Bucks are a little bit scared right now. More scared than they should be. They're the better team, without a doubt. And as long as Giannis is able to recover well, I'm picking the Bucks in. We'll do 6. I was almost really bold and said they would sweep it out, but no. Bucks in 6.
I like that. I'm probably going to go Bucks in 7. Absolutely think the Bucks should win the series if Giannis is able to stay healthy. I mean, Giannis got hurt, and Chris Middleton dropped 33, and Bobby Portis dropped 21. So they have other guys who are capable. So even if Giannis is not his 100% normal self, who's able to drop 40 on you at the drop of a hat, Bucks still have plenty around him to be able to go through and push through the series. But the Heat are also very scrappy. I mean, we know Jimmy Buckets for whatever reason, as soon as the postseason hits, no matter how well he did during the regular season, Jimmy Butler turns into a different kind of guy. And Bam Adebayo absolutely popped off for the Heat in Game 1. So it's going to be a hard-fought series, but yeah, I see the Bucks coming out on top.
Yeah.
All right, over to Cavaliers Knicks. It was a very tight game throughout the entire time. Knicks being able to escape those, taking a 1-0 lead. Who you got in the series?
I think that game will be somewhat indicative of the series. Really, really tight game. Although I see the outcome a little bit differently. I think that the Cavs just have more star power right now. The Knicks are still trying to figure themselves. I guess the Cavs are too. These are both teams that are a little bit young to the playoffs. But Cavs have experience where it matters, and that's in their star players. And I believe that they should be able to escape this series in 7 games.
7 games, okay. I'm also going to take the Cavs. I'm taking Cavs in 6. I think the Knicks will probably be able to take another one. But, yeah, I think that inexperience will show. They're both young teams, but the Knicks do have more – or the Cavs have more playoff experience with Donovan Mitchell as the leader of the team. I also think that in terms of what each team's ceiling is for how well they're able to play, the Cavs is higher than the Knicks, offensively especially. So I think the Cavs will be able to turn it around and take this series.
Yeah.
Okay, now over to 76ers Nets. Jonathan, who you got?
These 76ers. These next 2 series are the easiest ones to talk about. You look at just sports books right now have both the 76ers and the Celtics is minus 10,000 or something like that, which is pretty apt. The Nets just traded away every quality piece they have, acquired, I think, some decent depth, some decent pieces to build off of, but they are not there right now. And I think 76ers in 5 games, maybe the Nets sort of surprise them once, but it shouldn't be a close series.
Yeah, I agree. 76ers in 5 is what I'm going with as well, mainly just because there's bound to be one game where both Joel Embiid and James Harden absolutely crop the bed, as is the 76ers way, and as is James Harden's way. So I think Nets will be able to take one, but yeah, 76ers are 100% the better team, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
So Sixers in 5. And then you alluded to our final game of the first round here, Celtics-Hawks. I'm guessing after that rant there, you're going with the Celtics.
Yeah. Again, better talent up top, better talent throughout, better coaching, they're just the better team. I don't like picking sweeps usually, so I'm going to go 5 still, but this is probably the most likely sweep in my mind.
Gotcha. And I'm taking it. I'm going Celtics in 4. The Hawks are just downtrodden. There's been rumors flying around that they've been given permission to try and shop Trae Young, which has got to be demoralizing when that comes out in the middle of a postseason run.
Why wasn't he our dick of the week?
Yeah, yeah, we should have thought about that.
Yeah,
but the Celtics are. I think there's an even wider skill gap between the Celtics and the Hawks than there is between the Sixers and the Nets.
Yeah, I agree.
The Nets at least have depth. The Hawks, it's pretty much DeJounte Murray and Trae Young versus the frickin' world, and unfortunately, they're not good enough to go up against the world. So, Celtics in 4. And now, over to round 2. Jonathan, you picked Nuggets versus Clippers.
We both had Nuggets versus Clippers.
Nuggets versus Clippers. So, who do you got?
Round 2, Nuggets Clippers. I think that the Clippers are going to be on a revenge path for that 3-1 sweep or the 3-1 comeback that happened a couple years ago. And I think that the Nuggets will also be smart enough not to get down 1-3 again. If they get down 1-3, I don't see the comeback happening this time. But they're not gonna. It's gonna be Nuggets in 5. They're a motivated team right now. They have all the pieces they need, and I don't see almost any team in the West being able to stop them unless they match up really well. And honestly, the Suns were one of the better matchups against us, but I have them being eliminated a round earlier.
Gotcha. I also will be taking the Nuggets. I'll be taking the Nuggets in 6. I think the Clippers can take 2 away from them. Kawhi and Paul George are quite the dynamic duo, and they looked ferocious against the Suns. So I think they'll be able to steal 2, but yeah, I think Nuggets take that game. Other game, we actually picked completely
We did.
different things. You picked Grizzlies, Warriors, and I had Kings, Lakers. So who do you have on the Warriors, Grizzlies ends of things?
Oh, this is a tough one because I kind of want to keep picking the Warriors train just because they are
The Warriors.
the Warriors. They have the star talent that has been so good for so long, and I just still struggle to see when that talent will fall off. But I think I will go with the Grizzlies pulling it out. They match up really well against the Warriors. We saw this all year with how well they were able to play off of them. And I think that the Warriors are going to be able to get hot from the three-point line a couple of times, take a couple of games off of them. But at the end of the day, it'll be Grizzlies in 6.
Grizzlies in 6. All right. And on the other end of the spectrum, with completely different teams, I am picking the Kings over the Lakers in 6, kind of for the same reasons. The Kings have just dominated the Lakers all season long. I think they'll be able to take it. I think the Kings are a phenomenal team. So, Kings in 6. And now over to the Eastern Conference. We both have Bucks, Cavs. So who do you have coming out of that series?
Once again, better team by a mile, more experienced, has been there before.
Cavs, right?
The Cavs. The Cavs have won the the Buccaneers, and by that I mean the Bucks. Are better team top to bottom. Giannis will certainly be healthy by then if he doesn't do another twisty layup where he falls on his spine again. And yeah, just more complete team all around. I think that the Bucks get out of this one in 5.
5, all right. Pretty much same exact reasons on my end. I'm taking Bucks in 6. Just again, I think the Cavs are scrappy enough to take a couple of games away from the Bucks, and if Giannis is even slightly hurt, that's something that the Cavs can take advantage of. Donovan Mitchell, he's dropped 50 in the playoffs before, so he can do it again. So, and then over to our last one. Again, we both picked the 76ers and Celtics. Once again, this is probably the most compelling and tight series that we've come to so far. But
This is going to be one to watch. I hope that this series happens. It should by all accounts, and I can't wait to watch it. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a close one. I think that the 76ers might have a little bit more motivation here. Just a little bit better matchup as well. No one's really going to be able to stop Embiid. And as long as James Harden doesn't miss 27 three-pointers in a row, the 76ers will escape this series in 7 games.
I also have 76ers in 7. It's going to be, I guess we have other series coming up here that we'll talk about, but so far from the series we've chatted through, this is going to be the most competitive and feature the most firepower, and it's going to be tight. And I can see it going either way, but yeah, I agree. 76ers in 7.
Yeah.
All right, to round 3. You have Nuggets, Grizzlies battling it out for the Western Conference Finals. I have a guess who you're going to pick here. But who do you have?
This would make me really happy to see this matchup because, once again, I do not think that the Nuggets opponent match up very well against the Nuggets here. I would be a little bit nervous if it were the Warriors here, and I can see that happening. But against the Grizzlies, we have KCP to hold John Morant somewhat in control. We've got Aaron Gordon to pick up whoever is getting hot outside of Ja, and everyone else is just going to fall into place. I think that the Nuggets offense is going to roll here. It'll be pretty hard for the Grizzlies to be able to stop it, and Nuggets will win this one in 6.
Very, very confident number of games there. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm also taking Nuggets to win, and once again, shockingly, I am actually taking the Nuggets to win it in fewer games. I'm taking Nuggets in 5 over the Kings in mine. As much as I love the Kings, as good as I think the Kings are this year, Nuggets are just better. And like you were saying with the Grizzlies, the Kings match up horribly against the Nuggets. So I think the Nuggets will be able to handle business pretty easily there and secure themselves. Would this be their first ever finals appearance?
It would.
It would be.
Yeah.
So we both believe that the Nuggets will be making their first ever NBA finals appearance here.
Yeah. I don't think it'll be an easy road. I kind of like the way that I have this bracket playing out gives them easier opponents than they probably deserve. But I think that they are the team to beat.
All right, now over to the Eastern Conference. We both have Bucks 76ers battling it out for the path to the finals. Who you got?
This one is going to be an incredible series as well. And I might let my own desires show a little bit here, just because it's hard for me to decide which team is better in this scenario. But I would love to see a matchup between the Nuggets and the 76ers in the finals. So I'm going to pick the 76ers in 7.
All right. And I'm also taking the 76ers in 7. I think even though the Bucks are the number 1 seed and they have the best record in the East, correct? I think the 76ers – no, they don't.
They're third.
They're third. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think the 76ers are better than the Bucks, though. I think this season Joel Embiid has been showing out. James Harden has – actually been like a perfect piece next to Joel Embiid for the Sixers. They have good depth. And again, with the Bucks, there's now the question of is Giannis going to be 100% throughout the rest of the postseason? But even if he was, I still think the Sixers are going to be able to take it. It's going to be a very competitive series, just like Celtics-Sixers.
Yeah.
You'll for sure want to tune into that. But 76ers in 7, which now leaves both of our brackets as Nuggets 76ers for the 2023 NBA Finals. Jonathan.
Oh, man.
Who are you taking?
I really hope that this happens just because, I mean, even no matter what happens in this series, it would be so exciting to see the two leading MVP candidates square off against each other after such a horrible year for the MVP conversation and like the feelings that come with all of that nasty debate.
And has, I mean, possibly, but has the two MVP frontrunners ever squared off against each other in the NBA Finals? I mean, maybe, but
I don't have that info handy.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if not. I mean, because there's plenty of NBA frontrunners who are on.
I'm pretty sure. Was Dennis Rodman number 2 the year that he and MJ played in the finals?
No. Oh, you mean Pippen?
No.
Dennis Rodman?
When Rodman was on the Clippers.
Oh, I doubt it. Maybe, but
yeah. I don't know. We'll look that up later. But either way, this would be a really exciting series. And I think that for this series, it'll be such an interesting matchup because Embiid cannot stop Jokic and Aaron Gordon cannot stop Embiid. Jokic won't be guarding Embiid, I promise you. So it'll just be a matchup of the bigs to see who can be more productive on offense, who can make more shots for his team. And at the end of the day, I believe in Jokic more as the offensive creator than Embiid, and I will say that the Nuggets would win this series in 7 games.
Nuggets in 7. God, as much as it kills me to have to pull for the Nuggets as a Blazers fan, I also think Nuggets in 7. The fact that Embiid has just decided to not play in Denver for the past ever, pretty much, during his time in the NBA.
He's not played a game in Denver since December of 2019, I believe.
Yeah, so that doesn't bode well for the games that would be played in Denver. I'm not sure. Denver would have home court, wouldn't they?
I believe the Sixers actually would because the Nuggets knew that they had the 1 seed in the West, so they stopped caring. But it's like by a game or a tiebreaker. I'd have to see.
Let's see, 54 wins. Yeah. Sixers would have home court, but that's still still leaves 3 games in which Embiid would have to play in Denver. I think the Nuggets are totally capable of taking one on the road.
Yeah.
So I think Nuggets in 7, as much as it pains me, but here we are. So those are our 2023 NBA predictions. We'll have to, at the end of the postseason, come back to this and see how we did, especially when it comes to picking how many games are actually occurring in the series. But
because our finals were the exact same. We had a couple of variations in the early rounds, but for the most part, we actually are pretty agreeative.
Yeah.
If that's a word.
Yeah, it's now a word. We just invented it.
We are agreeative.
Well, with that, we'll transition over to our last segment of the day, our 100 units and 10,000 to 1 segment. So, Jonathan, what is your 100 units bet of the week?
So, I'm currently working on a tool in an Excel spreadsheet to basically allow me to do custom round robins. And so you won't find this on your FanDuel app, but you can create it yourself, and I can tell you how. But I'm picking the Nuggets to win in either 4 or 5 games. And this gives an effective odds of minus 125. The way that you'll do this is to bet 37 to 26 in favor of 5 games instead of 4 games. And that'll receive an even payout to each side with an expected return of minus 125. But the reason that I'm doing this is because both Evan and I are very confident that the Nuggets are the better team. They should be able to finish out the series early. And if you just bet the Nuggets to win the series, that's minus 1,000 odds right now. So you nearly improve your odds by 10 times to say that they'll do it quickly.
Yeah.
And I really like those odds.
I like it. Going to mine, this one you can in fact find on the FanDuel app. If you just go to NBA and then series. I'm picking the Kings and the Cavs to win the first round. That's plus 452, and I bet a half unit on that. As we went through the bracket, I picked both of those teams. I believe in the Kings. I believe in the Cavs. So plus odds for the two of them, I'll take it.
Yeah, I think that bet's a really nice one. And I have it included in my 10,000 to 1, but my 10,001 picks every single series. I might recommend you leave off a couple of these ones with really big minus odds, like Nuggets, Sixers, and Celtics, because they really don't contribute. I just did it so that we could get some extra content. But I'm picking the Grizzlies to win their series, the Kings to win their series, the Clippers to win their series, the Nuggets, the Cavs, the 76ers, the Heat. I have the Heat winning as well as the Kings, which I think I picked both of those differently in our other segment. But their odds, their money line odds are slightly more in favor. So when you're betting without even odds, it kind of shifts your mindset. And then obviously the Celtics. That gives me plus almost 20,000, 19,357, and just a quarter unit there.
Gotcha. My 10,000 to 1, I'm doing a parlay on Kings Warriors game 2. Doing Warriors money line, De'Aaron Fox to have 30-plus points, Klay Thompson 30-plus points, Jordan Poole 3-plus threes, Kevin Huerter 3-plus threes, Domantas Sabonis 10-plus rebounds, Kevon Looney 8-plus rebounds, and then Kings Warriors double result. So Kings to lead at half, but Warriors to win the game. That's plus 35,572. Betting a quarter of a unit on it. See if it happens. That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Some nice extra change in my pocket, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Warriors money line, I like it. De'Aaron Fox 30. I think he'll probably cool off a little bit. This next game gives someone else a chance. Klay Thompson 30. I do like. Jordan Poole 3 threes. I suck at picking threes. Kevin Huerter 3 threes. Domantas Sabonis 10 rebounds. That's a good pick. And Kevon Looney 8 rebounds. Mostly a great bet. but it won't hit. I'm afraid to tell you.
It's the whole point of this segment is to do bets that more than likely won't really hit.
Yeah.
So we'll see. One of these days, maybe one of them will, and one of us will be pretty happy with our lives. But
Yeah, without a doubt.
but with that concludes this episode. Jonathan, take us out.
The Nuggets are going to win the NBA Finals in a total of 18 games played.
Love it. Good night, everybody.